we're talking about the ways that we compare ourselves to others, right? And we come up with a kind of verdict of more, better than, worse than, or even equal to. And that's an important aspect of practice, is seeing how that comparing mind functions. But at a more kind of micro level, with each moment, we are sort of almost by default comparing this moment to some other notion of what might be the case, right? Like there's this almost like compulsive attempt to like establish the value of this moment in comparison to some other moment that might be, right? I don't know how long that acronym FOMO, is that how you say it? This is embarrassing. Is that how you say it? Yes? Fear of missing out. Did that start with Facebook kind of? Or like, I don't know when that came into being, but it wasn't so long ago, right? There's a way in which in every moment we're afraid of what we're missing out on, you know? Like just this breath, you know, it's like a question of what else might be here. And it's so natural for us to be looking to like always optimize, to always find some way that this moment might be more. But it's exhausting too. And so, yeah, as we sit together tonight, you might just pay attention to the ways in which this moment is mapped on against some other moment. And it's a little, you know, like those transparencies, those overhead projectors, like from grade school and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, it's like, here's this moment, and then we like, there's another sheet, another transparency, and we like map it on to see how it is, see how close it is to some ideal. And that's fatiguing. So, that's good to be with you. Let's sit, and we'll all miss out on a lot. Just giving the mind and body a little bit of time to unravel itself like a tightly wrapped wire finally being released. Just let it unwind. Let the breath help unwind. If you're sleepy, you might really attend to the gentle upward extension of the spine. If there's some restlessness or agitation, might really focus on giving the body over to gravity. For whatever agitation there might be in the mind, there's so much value in simply being still. Please don't use the activity in the mind as a kind of barometer for how you're doing or what goodness might be accruing. Just being clear on where you're attending, maybe the breath, maybe the body more broadly, maybe sound. What would it be like not to compare this moment to anything? What would it be like not to compare yourself to anyone or anything, to a past version of yourself or a future version of yourself? No need to compare the experience of being lost in thought to the experience of being concentrated. We just come back in our simple way. We open the heart to what's here. comparing this moment to another, when we're not considering all the possible alternatives. We might even feel grateful for what's here, for what we've been offered. The imperfection of the moment becomes another way to soften the heart. Any questions about practice? Please.
You said something like the imperfection of the moment. Is there another chance to soften?
Yeah.
More about that?
Yeah. Yeah. So the question was the suggestion that that the imperfection of the moment can be another way of softening the heart. Yeah, you know, when I think about what I've been doing all these years, like, you know, so many thousands of hours, and I don't know, probably close to a couple years in silent retreat, and a lot of it has been just that. Like, you know, I said don't compare this moment to another, but it's kind of like, yeah, there's something a little wrong with this moment. And that's going to actually have an impact. Like, that's either going to harden my heart or soften my heart. And the tendency is just to find a way to improve each moment, to compare this moment to another possibility. But in that act of comparison and in that hoping that it might be another way, it actually is hardening the heart, is like not allowing in the truth of the human condition. And so part of what we're actually doing is finding space for what's the imperfection to fully belong. Like, to just stop the compulsive attempt to like make human life feel perfect. Because when we do that, we actually never fully come home to ourselves. And so, so much of the time on the cushion for me has been just feeling like something could be better, you know, and not chasing that, you know. And sometimes letting the heartbreak or the physical discomfort just soften me. And that's really the practice of equanimity. When the ordinary kind of untrained mind meets difficulty, meets pain, it tends to coagulate into aversion and hatred. But when equanimity actually meets pain, it softens the heart. It becomes so much harder to hate when we actually allow the imperfection of the moment to make its way into our system. And this is not something that happens all at once, but it's like there's an accumulation, just equanimity, moment after moment, month after month. The last thing I'll say is that this is a little bit like one of the ways that mindfulness practice can start to really feel like metta practice. How vipassana, looking, opening to what's here, it can, it starts to feel not so removed from loving kindness practice, which is traditionally in its own category. Others. Yeah.
Could you elaborate more on the ways to bring loving kindness meditation and mindfulness meditation together?
Yeah, so
Like some techniques that you
yeah, so a question around techniques to bring loving kindness and mindfulness together. For me, it hasn't been very technique oriented, like as a way of bringing those together. It's just, I've found over the years, just if I get still, there are a few things that become really apparent to me, you know? The first is just that it's really intense to be human. Like, it's no joke. It's not for the faint of heart, this whole situation we got going, you know. It's like, even when things are going well, it's intense, you know. I see that there's nothing but change, you know. Like there's literally nothing but change. I know that it can't go on forever. Like, so there's actually a little bit of a palpable sense of that this is not forever. My life is not forever. And there's also this sense of that, like, just how deeply I want to be happy. And not like some superficial kind of happiness, like how deeply I long to be at peace. And when I sort of start to like take that all in, it just breaks my heart open. And love, or a certain kind of like tenderness, poignancy, it doesn't need to be like generated. I don't need to say like, may I be happy, may all beings be happy. It's like, no, it feels like such a direct consequence of the looking itself. And so, you know, in my own practice, I have come to kind of trust that that alienation is never the last word. It just means I have to keep looking. Like I do trust that deeply. When there's a sense of separation and alienation, it's like I know if I see more, if I actually see more deeply, it's not the last word.